Calling for the return of artifacts seized by British forces in the East African nation 150 years ago. The treasures are currently on display at the UK's Victoria and Albert Museum. Ethiopia first officially requested that the objects be returned in 2007. The V&A says it's ready to give the artifacts on a long-term loan basis, but Addis Ababa has rejected that offer, saying it wants all of them back permanently. Meanwhile, the museum says that the exhibition it's hosting was organised with the help of the Ethiopian community in London. It also wants dialogue with Ethiopia to keep the artefacts in its collection. A British journalist, John Gaunt, and Ethiopian political commentator Awal Allo shared their views on this issue.
We have looked after these historical artefacts. We have seen what's happened around the world when we have left things there. I mean, I could point you perhaps, say, to Iraq, Syria, and what happened with Islamic State. Absolute nonsense. As long as we're willing to give them out on long-term loans, I think that should be the end of the matter.
This is entirely colonial narrative, and I think it is extremely condescending to say that these nations are unstable and therefore cannot provide protection for those looted artifacts. They have sufficient capacity to do this.
Yes, we did take them, but is even Ethiopia's slate completely clean on this one? I mean, I just think it's a confected row that doesn't need to happen. We're not saying we won't display them there. We're not saying that when we displayed them here, we're not putting them in the historical context. We are. This is just nonsense.
The Ethiopian state continued to be the moral owner, at the same time the legal owner of these precious artifacts that were looted at the height of imperial plunder by the British. The UK has no basis whatsoever to hold them indefinitely and claim to somewhat have a moral high ground to loan it to the Ethiopian people and to the Ethiopian state.
How long do we have to wear the horsehair shirt for? How long do we have to whip ourselves for having an empire? I mean, a lot of what we did when we had an empire was good. I'm not excusing what happened. I can't actually condone it, I can't excuse it, and I can't condemn it. It was over 200 years ago.
Addis Ababa may not be as cosmopolitan as London, or may not have the kind of infrastructural facilities that London has, but it is still Africa's capital and has resources to display these artifacts, and people around the world can actually go and see them. It is in the financial interest of the Ethiopian people and the Ethiopian state if these people could actually go to Ethiopia itself, see the